I've been told my whole life you'll never be nothing simply because of the way you talk. But I ain't never let that stop me. When I first got on TV at NBC 7 years ago, they sent a linguist. So the woman comes in my office and she says, "Are we ready to begin?" And I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, who are you?" She said, "NBC is of the understanding in order for you to be successful on daytime TV, you're going to have to learn how to speak more eloquent." Oh, I said, "I ain't finna do all that there." She said, "Say what you just said to me again slowly." I said, "I ain't finna do all that there." She said, "That's exactly why I'm here." I said, "Yeah, but I talk just like this here. What's the problem?" She said, "If you don't learn how to speak more properly, you'll never be successful." I said, "Who told you that? You walked into my office. I'm already on TV. Now I've made it to this point without you. I don't know how you figure I ain't gonna get the rest of the way without you." She says, "Listen to me. If you don't learn how to speak better, you'll be off TV." I said, "Which one of these sound best to you? I am broke or I'm is rich?" Because I'm is rich.
Are you under the shade of what someone spoke over you, told you what you couldn't do? Now that shade is limiting your life? Do you have friends that are blocking your growth? What could you become if you got out from under that shade? Remove what's blocking your growth and you'll begin to blossom.
I think the biggest vulnerability you've got is you actually value somebody's opinion more than you value your own.
Those people that you're so terrified of their opinion of you, those people are not the ones who will live with the regret. Those other people are not going to be there when it sucks and it's hard for you.
The biggest struggle for me was my family, man. The people closest to me was the biggest struggle. Every time I went out to do another deal, everybody told me, "You don't need to do that, man." So the point, you got fuel in your tank, and then you got somebody in the back seat saying, "Hey, be careful." They're putting mental pressure on the brakes when you're trying to accelerate.
If they're rooting against you and they really just want to see you lose, they're pretending to be concerned, then this is something that you just completely eliminate from your life.
There's always some reason to be down on ourselves. You have to put your foot down and say, "No, thanks. I'm not living under that shade." Get your passion back. Start believing again. Start dreaming again. One thing that can easily stunt our growth is the people that we're spending time with. Are they making your life better, or are they causing you to compromise? Take the easy way out. If you want to know what you're going to be like in 5 years, look at your friends. I know you love your friends, but your destiny is too great. You need people that bring out the best in you, that challenge you to live a life of excellence and integrity. And too often, we don't realize who we are. We're letting negative voices convince us that we're limited. See, I'm done letting fear and can't do it thoughts dictate my life. Where you are is not your destiny. You can come out of the fear and step in to who you were created to be, a history maker. Anytime we try to move forward, there are people telling us what we can't do. No, quit letting people talk you out of your dreams. It may not have happened for them, but you're a mighty hero. It's going to happen for you. God's favor is on your life in a new way. He's called you to set the new standard, to take your family to a new level.
I don't know what that dream is that you have. I don't care how disappointing it might have been as you've been working toward that dream. But here's what I know, that dream that you're holding in your mind, that it's possible. See, sometimes we can't say, "I can do that." But what we can say, that it's possible. And here's what I will share with you, that in the process of working on your dreams, you are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of pain, a lot of defeats. But in the process of doing that, you will discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. what you'll realize is that you're more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine, that you don't have to go through life being a victim. I was born in Miami, Florida, in an area called Liberty City with my twin brother. When I was in 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled, educable, mentally retarded, and stayed in that category until I got out of high school. But I met a high school teacher who one day changed my life. I was waiting on another student. When he came in, he said to me, "Young man, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you." I said, "I can't do that, sir." He said, "Why not?" "Because I'm educable, mentally retarded." He said, "Don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." And ladies and gentlemen, I started working on my dream. And most people don't work on their dreams. Why? One is because of fear. What if things don't work out? The other thing is that most people, ladies and gentlemen, they get comfortable. They stop pushing themselves, and they end up becoming very cynical about life, and they throw in the towel on themselves and on their dreams. What I'm doing now, I could have been doing years ago. But because I didn't believe in myself, because I allowed other people's opinion of me to control my destiny, I didn't act on my ideas. And not only is it important for you to know it's possible for you to choose your future, but it's necessary that you get the energy drainers out of your life, people who don't want anything, people who are not challenging themselves, people who have stopped dreaming. It's necessary that you align yourself with people who are hungry, people who are refusing to leave life just as it is and who want more. It's necessary that you get the losers out of your life. It's necessary to know that everybody won't see it, that everybody won't have the vision, that a lot of people like to complain, but they don't want to do anything about their situation. You have to know within yourself that I can do this. Even if no one else sees it for me, I must see it for myself by being one of those individuals that keep your commitments, that keep your word, that's relentless. That is you. That no one can do it for you but you. You must understand that. Yes, it's possible that you can choose your future and direct the course of your life. It's necessary that you have goals, that you write those goals down, that you plan. It's also necessary that you look for ways to always find a way to pull it out when everybody else thinks that you are defeated. But the next thing, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you that it's hard. It's not easy. It's hard changing your life. And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream. No one could have convinced me by holding on, by continuing to run toward my dream, that one day I would have my own talk show. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream. As you hold on to that dream, there are moments when you're going to doubt yourself. There are rough times are going to come, but they have not come to stay. They have come to pass. It's very important for you to believe that you are the one. It was hard laying on the floor of the Penobscot building, looking out of the window, daydreaming. I used to ask myself, can I do this? And something said within me, you're the one. You're the one.
Promise yourself you'll read the books until your skills change. You'll listen to it until it makes sense. Never give up until, however long that is, step by step, piece by piece, book by book, go for it. Don't miss the chance to grow. Then you'll discover some of life's best treasures when you pay that price.
The reason people don't put themselves in a position to fail is they value other people's opinions too much.
If you don't get over that, you're doomed. Because what happens is you start to create a whole bunch of people that aren't even yourself. You never figure out who you are. Whoever is around you, you live their dreams. You lose your power.
Your friends are likely going to pull you off course because they're not on the same path that you're on. And this is why most people never achieve the things that they want to achieve, because they are too uncomfortable sticking to their own game, going on their own journey, and not listening to Joe and Steve and Mary, who are still stuck in that old way of thinking, in that old way of living.
Learn to differentiate between things that don't matter and things that do matter. You have to be able to detach, focusing all your energy on things that actually matter.
There are going to come plenty of people who don't believe in your vision. They don't see it. That's okay. It's not theirs. Don't let their words rob you of your vision. This isn't for them. This is yours. Grab a hold of it, see it, and go get it. Just because they don't want to go create this awesome, fulfilling existence that is worth all the effort to do doesn't mean there's something wrong with them. It just means that your nature and their nature are not aligned anymore. That doesn't mean you can't be friends with them. But what it does mean is that you're going to have to get comfortable sticking to your own plan and telling them no when they want to go out on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Discriminate between things that matter and things that don't matter. And the way that you do that is by detaching from everything, and you focus on the things that matter, and it's going to make your entire life a lot easier.
So if you want to win, you're going to have to get real comfortable keeping your head on your plan, let people be happy, and put the time into making yourself happy. People have different natures. Not everybody's meant to be a billionaire. Not everybody's meant to be a perfect human specimen physically. This isn't for them. This is yours. Grab a hold of it, see it, and go get it. This isn't for them. This is you. Drown them out.
Doubtless. You can't have no doubt. You can't have no doubts. I'm not talking about other people believing for you. You got to believe this for yourself.
Being successful is not a magic trick. You just have to learn the principles of success. I am telling you, your education ain't got nothing to do with it. It's your dreams and visions. A man without a dream or vision shall perish. Now, when you going to ask him for it, and are you going to wait for it to happen? Or are you going to lose faith? Well, I guess it wasn't the Lord's will. Who are you? How you know what God's will is? It all happens at an appointed time, but you have to stay in faith for the appointed time to happen for you.
You've got to sell yourself every day on your abilities, on the goal that you want to reach. You can learn all the techniques in the world. If you don't believe in yourself, it won't happen for you. And as you convince you, as you sell yourself, every day you will begin to see a difference in the things that you're doing. Telling yourself every day, here I go again, and I got what it takes. This is my day, and nothing out here is going to stop me.
It's possible to finish something before you start. In fact, it would be a bit foolish to start until you had it finished. So human beings have this remarkable ability to finish something and then start. We've heard the old expression, don't count your chickens until they're hatched. Say, no, we have the ability to count our chickens long before they're hatched. Because we know, we have faith, we believe. We use the law of averages. There's bound to be at least so many. Out of every dozen, out of every 100, out of every 50. So it's possible to see the end, then begin. Start looking into the future of what you would like to accomplish, where you would like to go, the person you would like to be, and see if you can't get a better picture of the finished objective. See yourself there. See yourself in possession of. I was in business with Bob Cummings, the old movie star, for a while. He said, Decide what you want and then act as if you already had it. And being an actor, he could give us a few tips on acting. Decide what you want and act as if it was already yours. Now, the reason we can act thinking that it's already ours is because not only can we vision the end results, we can also vision the beginning of making it real. So we don't start till it's finished, but it is possible for human beings to finish something before they start. Human beings are the only life on earth that has this incredible capacity to change the course of your life. No other life form can do that. Every other life form except humans seems to operate simply by instinct and the genetic code. In the winter, the goose flies south. How often? Answer, every winter. If you said to the goose, hey, it'd be better this year to go west, he ignores that advice. And the reason is because he cannot make choices and listen to advice of something that might be better. He has to obey instinct and the genetic code. But now jot this down, not human beings. Human beings can alter the course of their life. Human beings can live one way for 5 years, tear up that script, live a totally different way the next 5 years. The first 6 years of my economic life, I wound up broke. Second 6 years, I wound up rich. Someone says, how did you do that? Here's number one. I discovered I was not a goose. Someone says, don't you have to do the second 6 years like you did the first 6 years? And jot this down. No, you don't have to live the second 6 years like the first 6. You can use all the information and all the advice and repairing all of your mistakes and adopting a new and refined philosophy so that the next 6 years can be totally different than the last 6.
Are you letting your circumstances talk you out of what God put in your heart? Now you've quit believing. God still wants to bring it to pass, but you have to get in agreement with Him and say, God, I still believe it can happen. The odds are against me, but I still believe I can accomplish my dreams. I was raised in dysfunction, but I still believe I can set a new standard. Thoughts whispering, you'll never beat the right person. You can't pass that college course. If you start dwelling on it, these problems are so big. I don't see how it can work out. Before long, you'll be negative. Don't take the bait. Those are lies to try to defraud you out of your purpose. Do yourself a favor. Ignore it. Just say, no thanks. I still believe.
Faith is the belief in things that you cannot see. You can never lose faith. When you don't see no way how, you have to buckle down and keep believing. God is always coming.
No other life form can do this. See, if you were a tree, you'd be stuck. As a tree, if you used up all the nourishment that was around you and you couldn't change location, see, you would die. But that's not true. Human beings can change location, go north, south, east, west, live here for a while, live somewhere else for a while. So that's a note to make. You can greatly alter the course of your life. Now, here's the next note to make. 5 years from now, you will arrive. The question is, where? This is for mature people now. If you keep up your present disciplines and keep up the present pace that you're on, where will you be in 5 years? Boy, it's easy to say, hey, I haven't really thought about that. So now make this note. In 5 years, here's the probability. You will either arrive at a well-designed destination or an undesigned destination. Well-designed or undesigned. And I promise you, 5 years from now, you really don't want to arrive at an undesigned destination. Because you may very well wind up wearing what you don't want to wear, driving what you don't want to drive, living where you don't want to live, maybe doing what you don't want to do. Simply because you didn't design a better destination. Key phrase, up front, the decisions are easy. Now, sometimes after we've lived a few years now to repair our mistakes and get back on track, seems like a tough job. If you've messed up your health for 10 years, I'm telling you, it takes more than 10 days to get it back. But here's the key, and it's so exciting to talk to the teenagers. Make the note. If you start early, The fortune belongs to you if you start early. All fortunes that are available to humans, if you start early, the promise looms large and the odds are heavy in your favor. Now, yes, it's possible to do some radical things starting late and still arrive with some good treasures and some good things. But when you haven't got that much time left, now sometimes the decision has to be so drastic, people are not willing to make it, and they're too tired and too weary and too ill. And say, look, I don't have much time left. It's not going to happen for me anyway. It's easy to take that attitude. But everyone here, we've got the time over the next 10 years. We've got the time the next 20 years. We've got the time the next 30 years to make some repair now in our errors of the past and set up some new disciplines. And I'm telling you, that's going to change everything. So 5 years from now, I wish for you to arrive at a well-designed place. A place of productivity, a place that'll make you feel good about yourself, a place that'll give you honor and respect, a place that'll give you influence to touch other people 5 years from now that you couldn't do today. Where will you be in 5 years? Key phrase, we go the direction we face. We go the direction we face. If you start designing something at the end of this direction, sure enough, you will start going the direction you face. And we face the direction we design.
Don't get talked out of what you're believing for. You had every right to give up. The setback should have talked you out of it. You haven't seen any sign of things changing. All the facts say it's impossible. Your attitude is, that's okay. God can do the impossible. Don't get talked out of your dreams. The disappointment is not going to cause you to get discouraged. The people who don't believe in you is not going to dampen your faith. The environment you were raised in is not going to stop your destiny. Your time is coming. What God put in your heart is still on the way.
Guess how quickly you can change your health? By starting to eat an apple a day. Mama said an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Let's say you've been ill long enough and you've had health problems long enough and you say, that's it. That's over. I'm going to now start a program. You don't have to really revolutionize your whole health life. Just start with an apple a day. You say, well, is it that simple to change your health life? And the answer is yes. The key is just to start. You know, you pick up a book on good health and you get halfway through the book and it says, now, dear reader, set this book aside, fall down on the floor and see how many push-ups you can do. And then it goes on to say, and if you have not done that, why not give this book away? It looks like you're not going to do it. Come on, you don't have to radically do something. You can gain momentum and make changes as you go. Just start. Here's what happens when you start a new direction. Self-esteem starts to accelerate. It doesn't take much for you to feel good about yourself. Just committed to a new direction and you feel good. And an apple a day, committed to finally having a health program that'll make you the healthiest you've ever been in the next 20 years. All you got to do is munch on that first apple. And nobody even has to be around you, and you don't have to announce it to the world. But you munch on that first apple and say, this is the beginning of developing a health program that's going to make me so healthy I'll have the vitality to do whatever I want to do for the next 30 years of my life. Munch, munch, happy, happy, self-esteem off the scale. Now, if you eat an apple the second day, you become almost delirious, saying, wow, I'm on my way. Somebody said, just 2 apples. Says, look, you don't understand. Not only did I do it yesterday, I've done it again today. This is really proving to myself with no audience, no microphones, no nothing, just you and yourself. You've convinced yourself, I'm on my way to the healthiest I ever have been. I'm starting a new life. This is the second day. I'm on my way. That's how easy it is to change your life. You don't need some dramatic vision. Just begin something. And maybe by health or by whatever other things we can think of to do, you just get back on a better track. Okay? It's a small journey to changing direction.
We find ourselves when we discover our purpose. Nothing is better than for a person with a plan for his or her life to find themselves, find that purpose.
It does not matter where you sit. It does not matter what you have on. But if you don't have purpose in your bowels, you cannot do what God has called you to do.
It's what makes you solid. It's what makes you secure. It's your mooring. It keeps you just exactly where you need to be so that you can accomplish what you want to accomplish, to discover your purpose, to find yourself. What a wonderful thing. That's what our subject is about today.
But if you don't have that tough tenacity, God-anointed, purpose-driven life, you will give up and walk away. But there are some of us that have nothing to walk away to. If it's fight, we just got to fight. We're like the woman with the issue of blood. If I have to crawl to get there, then I'm getting on my knees. I still got to go.
But there's a second challenge. Once we find our purpose, discover why we're here, there's a second challenge that we have that we face, and that is to lose ourselves. And we lose ourselves when our purpose becomes bigger than us. To find a purpose, how important. But then to take that purpose and place it in a position with people that has eternal factors involved is to lose yourself and to go to another whole level of life and another level of living. Very few people find themselves and lose themselves. Place that purpose in a position that is so much bigger than us that we can literally lose ourselves in the process.
In a time of change that's taking place around the world, in a time when people are feeling a great deal of anxiety and fear and reservations about the future, at a time when people are going to work and don't know whether or not they will have a job when they get off, and not necessarily because of their performance, but because of what's happening in the economy, at a time when there are challenges more so than ever before in personal relationships, that many times I'm sure that we've all taken time just to stop and reflect many times when we hear what's happening in the news or read the newspapers. And so I think that now more than ever, we must begin to look at what are the things that we can do that will enable us to do some things and use some powers that we have that many of us go through life never ever discovering that we have those things going for us. And part of that, I believe, is knowing what it is your life worth. What is it that gives your life a sense of meaning and purpose? Because once you find that, it puts you in your power place. See, if you know what your life work is, I encourage you to start working on it. If you can't do it all at one time, do just a little bit of it. And if you don't know what it is that you showed up to do, if you don't know why you're here, I encourage you to find out what your purpose is here. What is the meaning of your life?
Once you identify it, you have to invest in it. You have to support it. You have to put yourself in an environment where you can shine.
So the first question we have to ask ourselves this morning is, how do we find ourselves? That's challenge number one. And we find ourselves when we discover our purpose. The world is so full of apathy. It's so full of average. A person with passion always stands out. It sets us apart. It sets us above the crowd. But once you have passion and once you have a sense of energy in your life, it just sets you apart. It distinguishes you. It already gives you what I would call a head start in success in life.
There are way more followers in the world than there are leaders. Never assume people think of you the way you think of yourself. What perceptions are you creating? If you're going to put these negative perceptions out there about yourself, at least be conscious of it.
So I'm saying that we have to work through the challenges of life in learning how to begin to work to fortify ourselves. I can live my dream. I can find my purpose in life. I deserve more for myself. Just start working at it just a little bit, but do find out what your work is and hold on to it and don't let your dream go. Don't let it go. Why is it that most people don't pursue their dreams or don't do better than what they're doing if they're capable of doing it? I think that many of us don't go the next step because we don't know what to do yet. And I say that the reason that we don't even explore the possibility of what to do is because subconsciously we don't believe that it can happen for us and we don't believe that we deserve it.
So let's talk about it. Never assume that people think of you the way you think of yourself. Once you decide to put these perceptions out there in the universe, if you're not content with the way most of the people think of you, now you're on a mission to change those perceptions. When you change those perceptions, people are going to either decide to roll with you or not. You have been blessed with so many gifts and talents, natural gifts, that if you unleash everything that you're capable of doing on the world at one time, it's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be too much. You are a gift from God. You have so many talents. If you drop too much on people at one time, it's going to be overwhelming.
There are going to be plenty of times in your life when you're not happy. There might be years. And so it's a shallow boat in a very rough ocean. Happiness is something that descends upon you. Everyone knows that. It comes upon you suddenly. And then you should be grateful for it because there's plenty of suffering. And if you happen to be happy, wonderful. Enjoy it. Be grateful for it. And maybe try to meditate on the reasons that it manifested itself, because it can come as a mystery. You know, you don't necessarily know when you're going to be happy. Something surprising happens and delights you. And you can analyze that. You can think, well, I'm doing something right. I'm in the right place right now. I've done something right. Maybe I can hang on to that. Maybe I can learn from that. What you should be pursuing instead is you should be pursuing who you could be. That'd be the first thing. It's like, because you're not who you could be, and you know it. You have guilt and shame and regret. You berate yourself for your lack of discipline and your procrastination and all your bad habits. You know perfectly well that you're not who you could be. And God only knows who you could be. And so that's how you should be that's what you should be striving for. And associated with that, you should be attempting to formulate some conception of the highest good that you can conceive of, that you can articulate. Because why not aim for that? Your life is short and it's troublesome. And perhaps you need to do something worthwhile with it. And if so, then you should do the most worthwhile thing. Figure out what that is for you and to dispense with those parts of you that are unworthy. And then maybe, if you're fortunate and you do that carefully, then happiness will descend upon you from time to time. And that's the best you've got. And then also perhaps during sorrowful times, the fact that you've strengthened your character and that you're aiming at the highest that you can conceptualize, that'll give you the moral fortitude to endure without becoming corrupted during those times.
So here's what I'm suggesting. How much time do you spend working on you? How much time do you spend every day working on your dream? In the last 90 days, how many books have you read? In the last year, what new skill or knowledge have you acquired? What kind of investment have you made in you? I'm saying that as you begin to look at where you want to go, if you want to make it today, and things are changing so fast, you have to literally run to stand still. I'm saying that you've got to make some conscious effort to begin to work to develop you.
Freeman, I'm here to tell you there are a whole bunch of you out there. You're adding value to the dream of somebody that you're working with. You're making a difference. So your purpose may not be just for personal use. It may be for corporate use or collective use. It may be bigger than you. Does that make sense? Passion. But the second question we ask ourselves is not only what am I passionate about, but what are my strengths? What am I good at? What is my spiritual giftedness? Because when God created you, he gave you gifts, spiritual strengths to enable you to find and fulfill your purpose.
Disciplines undone in the future give us poor results. Discipline managed well gives us good results. We're affected by our dreams, our vision of the future. You want to make sure that the greatest pull on your life is the pull of the future. Some people live in the past and let their life be continually pulled and influenced by the past. And yes, we must remember the past and review the past to make it useful to invest in the future. Make sure that the greatest pull on your life is the pull of the future. If you're skimpy on your dreams, that isn't very well planned, then it doesn't pull very hard. Then you have more of a tendency to be pulled by the past or to be pulled apart by events or circumstances. So in order to save yourself from being pulled apart by distractions or pulled back to the past, you want to now start really designing the future so that the greatest part of your attention and pull, like a magnet, pulls you forward into the future to accomplish your goal. Goals are like a magnet. They pull, and the stronger they are and the more purposeful they are, the bigger they are, the stronger they pull. If you have excellent goals, here's what they also do. They pull you through all kinds of down days, down seasons. They pull you through distraction on every side. It says, look here, look here, look here. Strong, powerful dreams like a magnet pull you through that. Some people get swallowed by the disaster because they have nothing on the other side of the disaster to pull them through. At the other side of the difficult time, at the other side of the down time, if you've got plenty out there to attract and pull, it'll pull you through all these things. And very little of it will attach itself to you. You'll be able to get through some of the most difficult times if you have this spectacular vision ahead of you of where you're going and what you're going to accomplish. Getting through will be easy.
Howard Thurman, one of the mentors of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Albert Schweitzer, and Mahatma Gandhi. He was a very brilliant writer. He wrote some things that really grabbed me. He wrote, "Deep is the hunger." During the time after receiving 238 radiation seed implants, I was reflecting on his words, and these words kept me up that night. The ideal situation for a man to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over.
He said, but imagine if you on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the abilities, the talents given to you by life, and that you never went after that dream. You never acted on those ideas. You never used those talents. And there they are standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, we came to you. And now we must die with you forever. If you die today, what dreams, what ideas, what talents, what books, what music, what leadership will die with you? Miles Monroe, great orator and speaker, said the wealthiest place on the planet, it's not in the Far East where there's oil in the ground. It's not in South Africa where there are diamond mines. He said the wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery. Greatness that we've never seen. There you find talent and genius and potential never actualized. Oh, God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived. What if you live your whole life only to discover that it was wrong? That you were chosen to do something else and you didn't do it.
Your words become your reality. You are where you are today, in part because of what you've been saying about yourself. Words are like seeds. When you speak something out, you give life to what you're saying. If you continue to say it, eventually that can become a reality. Whether you realize it or not, you are prophesying your future. And this is great when we're saying things like, I'm blessed, I'm strong, I will accomplish my dreams, I'm coming out of debt. That's not just being positive. You are prophesying victory, prophesying success, prophesying new level. Your life will move in the direction of your words. But too many people go around prophesying just the opposite. I never get any good breaks. I'll never get back in shape. Business is slow. I'll probably get laid off. Flu season is here. I always get it. They don't realize they are prophesying defeat. It's just like they're calling in bad breaks, mediocrity, lack. The scripture says we will eat the fruit of our words. You are planting seeds when you talk. At some point, you're going to eat that fruit. My challenge is make sure you're planting the right kind of seeds. If you want apples, you have to sow apple seeds. If you want oranges, you can't plant cactus seeds, poison ivy seeds, mushroom seeds. You're going to reap fruit from the exact seeds that you've been sowing. In other words, you can't talk negative and expect to live a positive life. You can't talk defeat and expect to have victory. You can't talk lack, not enough, can't afford it, never get ahead, and expect to have abundance. If you have a poor mouth, you're going to have a poor life. If you don't like what you're seeing, start sowing some different seeds. Instead of saying, I'll never get well, Joel. This sickness has been in my family for 3 generations. No, let me give you the right seeds. God is restoring health back into me. This sickness didn't come to stay. It came to pass. I'm getting better and better every day. You keep sowing those seeds and eventually you'll eat that fruit. Health, wholeness, victory. Instead of saying, I'll never get out of here. I'll never rise any higher. No, I will lend and not borrow. Whatever I touch prospers and succeeds. I'm coming into overflow, into more than enough. Start sowing seeds of increase, seeds of abundance. No more, I'll never accomplish my dream. No, I have the favor of God. Blessings are chasing me down. The right people are searching me out. New opportunities, new levels are in my future. You keep talking like that, you'll reap a harvest of good things. James said in the scripture, with our tongue, we can bless our life or we can curse our life. Many people don't realize with their words, they're cursing their future. Every time you say, I never get any good breaks, you just curse your life. I'll never be able to afford that nice. I'll never break this addiction. I'll never be the right person. Well, stop cursing your future. Sometimes the enemy doesn't have to be neither for themselves. Pay attention to what you're saying. Are you blessing your life or are you cursing? I had a classmate in high school that was always very negative. Every time I asked him what was going on, he had this standard. He would always say, not much. I'm just getting old, fat, and bald. I heard him say that probably 500 times. I know, he's just not kidding, but I wouldn't kid about that. He was one of the stars for our football team. Always in great shape. Had this big curly hair. About 15 years later, I ran into him at the mall. When I saw him, I nearly passed out. He had prophesied his future. He looked old, fat, and bald. Friends, don't speak that defeat over your life. Our attitude should be, I'm getting younger. God is renewing my youth like the eagles. I'm getting stronger. healthier, better looking. I'm going to keep my hair. I'm going to stay in my right mind. I'm going to live a long, productive, faith-filled life. Don't go around cursing your future. Start blessing your life. Prophesy good things. There's a young lady on staff here. Every morning before she leaves the house, she looks in the mirror and says, "Girl, you're looking good today." I saw her one time and asked if she was still doing it. She said, "Yeah, in fact, today when I looked in the mirror, I said, girl, some days you look good, but today you look really good." Why don't you stop criticizing yourself, talking about all the things you don't like, how you're getting too old and too wrinkled, too this, too that. Stop cursing your life and start blessing your life. Start calling yourself healthy, strong, talented, beautiful, young. Every morning before you leave the house, look in the mirror and say, "Good morning, you good-looking thing." Now, Brother Paul, you need to do this every hour. Sometimes when we've been traveling a lot, been very busy, Victoria will come to church with me and say, "Joel, I am so tired. Look at me. Can you see how red my eyes are?" I always say, "No, Victoria, you look beautiful. You look as great as ever." She said, "No, I don't, Joel. I know you. You won't tell me." She's right. I don't want to speak defeat. I want to speak victory over her life. I wonder what she would do if I ever said, "Yeah, you're right. You don't look good at all." I'm smarter than that. I know this man that was so concerned that he was going to get Alzheimer's disease. Several people in his family had it. A grandfather, a great uncle. He was in his early 50s, but he was always talking about what might happen. He told me how he is making plans for who could take care of him, get everything lined up. Of course, it's good to use common sense, to be wise, but if you go around talking about when you're going to get it, making plans for it, most likely you won't be disappointed. You're calling it in, just like you're sending it an invitation. I told him what I'm telling you. Don't say another time that you're going to have Alzheimer's. Start declaring, "No weapon formed against me will ever prosper. I will live out my days in good health, with a clear mind, with good memory, with clarity of thought. My mind is alert. My senses are sharp. My youth is being renewed." You got to prophesy health. Prophesy a long, productive life. Your words will become your reality.
I am an imperfect soldier for Christ. Key word, imperfect. Because I know I still do some things that ain't, you know what I'm saying? Hustle. I still see these things. But I have learned even how to see it and be spiritual about it. Because, you know, out in Hollywood now, this Me Too movement, it's big. So when I take pictures, I've been taking pictures all over the place. You see me taking pictures, you see all my friends. But I found how to be spiritual. So now, this is how I do. Whenever I'm walking and I see a beautiful woman, get it out my chest. Just stay still. So when I walk around and I see Jesus, praise the Lord.
We're so afraid of being vulnerable. We're terrified of being honest. We're so used to being judged and being held to a standard that society sets for us that we don't give ourselves permission to even ask these questions, let alone answer them.
Decide what you need to do and act.
The foundation of all strength is pain.
Embrace pain. Pain is something to embrace. If there's no resistance to you, you're not going to get anywhere in life.
The purpose of a goal is not getting it anyway. The purpose of a goal, who you become. Who you become is going to make you happier. It's going to make you sad.
Because some people think when you lose a dream or you lose something, that it's over. But you didn't lose who you are. You lost that thing, that placement. Life might not be adding up to what you wanted to add up to. But at least you have every single day is a new beginning. Every day is a new beginning. And certain days aren't going to look like you want them to look. but at least you have another chance. Like 150,000 people die every day. It's 55 million people a year. If you're looking for a blessing, realize that's your blessing. You have another opportunity at life. The only way you're going to get strength in your life is if you go through that hard moment, that tough moment. Realize this, just because it's a chapter, it doesn't mean it's your whole story.
Most people think the things that are temporary are the permanent things. The temporary passing, I'm going through a breakup. You don't understand that in a month you're going to be okay. When you're in a low, when you're feeling bad, you think that thing you're feeling is how you're going to feel forever, which is what makes it feel worse. All of your emotions are temporary. They're passing things. So most of our pain comes from believing, I believe, that we should keep holding on to these things that are really heavy in our lives.
Always constantly looking at life. What is it? What is it? Where am I? How interesting. Look at different cultures, different beliefs. How do they come to that? How do I feel about that? What do I think? It is a daily adventure. You have your voice. It's there. Just do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Create. Don't let anyone stop you.
When you can realize that your worst days were truly your best days. When you can realize that every human being goes through pain and injustice, some more than others, but everyone goes through it. Everyone's had someone be completely unjust to them. Everyone has had someone hurt them who they loved and cared for deeply, or they trusted, or they looked to for support or love. It's part of how we grow spiritually. There's no possibility to build muscle without something you have to lift. And if you don't lift it, it will crush you. And if you lift it, it will be painful. It's not easy to lift those things. But the day in which you finally find inside yourself the story and state that finally makes you no longer be willing to be pressed down by your past, that's the day your life not only changes, but you also now have the ability to give the gift to others. And the most beautiful day, though, is the day when you go, if it wasn't for all that I hated most, I wouldn't have what I love most. Realizing that there was a meaning in all of it and that it serves something greater than just little me. I'm lost here.